Hey 4xe fans, this video I want to talk a little bit about service on the Jeep Wrangler 4xe, and actually this video, I hope this makes it to a few people at Jeep because we need to talk. That's the honest thing. We need to talk about this. I just read a story this morning in the Jeep 4xe fans group about a person whose Jeep sat at the shop for 255 days before it was finally determined that it was going to be a buyback scenario. And I tell you, I know these cases aren't a high percentage. I know it's a low percentage of Jeep Wrangler 4xe's that have these kind of major issues that for some reason the dealerships are incapable of figuring out. But Jeep, we've got an issue that we need to ask for some help for in the 4xe community. And I'm speaking as a fan of the product. I'm speaking as someone who thoroughly enjoys his Jeep. But I will say there's this little part in the back of my head every time I take this thing off-road, every time I take this thing on a long trip, if it has a major issue, am I going to be able to find a dealership that knows how to work on this thing? Now, I personally have had great dealership experiences. I have, Dayton Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram here in Trotwood, Ohio, does a fantastic job. And there's one guy there that works on my Jeep every time, and he knows what he's doing. But I do wonder if he has the ability to diagnose some of these really odd issues, these issues that just they can't figure out how to work on. And as a person who's involved in the community, I just want to ask Jeep if we could please find a solution. I think Jeep views itself as a manufacturer and not a service company, and I totally get that based on the archaic franchise laws we have here in the United States. I totally get how that works, but there has to be a solution found. The Wrangler 4xe is the first of many complicated vehicles that are going to be hitting the road over the next few years, as Jeep has stated over and over and over again. But service is part of the ownership experience. Service is part of the lease experience. And I'm not going to mention another manufacturer as being a model to look at, but there is another major American auto manufacturer that has totally bypassed the dealership experience and has service centers. And I don't know what the answer is for Jeep. I'm not one that's smart enough to know how to navigate what Jeep does, and I'm not even going to think I'm smart enough to even suggest how this works. But Jeep, I think there's something there to be looked at, and the community is frustrated, especially those that have experienced long-term issues where the Jeep just sits at the dealership and cannot get repaired. These vehicles are a sum of all of their parts. There's not like a magic box that gets installed under the dashboard and a magic box that gets installed in the transmission that nobody knows anything about. They are a sum of all their parts that ran down an assembly line, and there should be a troubleshooting process that can resolve the issues. It shouldn't be a magical mystery to these garages that they're incapable of repairing these things. And Jeep, I don't know if there needs to be a more advanced tier 2 tech support that is, regionally based, that can go to the garages, that has more specialized training in these vehicles. I don't know what that looks like, but Jeep, as a community, you have a lot of us that are nervous about, if I see that check engine light, is it going to start my story of dealing with a Jeep sitting at a garage for months on end that eventually maybe gets fixed, and in the process I lose all confidence in the vehicle? Or is it going to be one of those scenarios where it ends up getting bought back just simply because they can't figure it out? And I think both of those scenarios are just inexcusable for a manufacturer with the size and scope and capability of Jeep. Obviously, the capability to design and manufacture a vehicle is there. We have to work on the service side. That cannot be something that's discounted by the manufacturer. Now, we know, we heard a podcast, it's been over a year and a half ago, where the president of the company said, we've got an issue with our dealers not knowing how to work on these things. We have an education process, and we have waited patiently, and it's going on way too long. This vehicle, in another month and 15 days, I will have owned 2 years. So it's time that we address these issues, and it's just way past time, honestly, because I know of a few people who have just moved on. After the company agreed to buy theirs back, they just moved on. One person I know is restoring an old CJ. Another person's like, forget it, and I'm going on to the 392. And another couple people that I know of are just like, you know what, I'm not buying anything with a Jeep badge on it again. So I just wanted to put this out there. I have no idea if this will make it to anybody that can make a difference in this conversation, but I just feel, as a creator of the 4xe Fans group and admin of that group and creator of this channel, we are a community, and I feel that responsibility to the community that we need to say something. We need to start saying something as a community and asking Jeep, please deal with this issue. That's all for this morning. Thank you for watching. Take care.